Has started recording. Okay. So we didn't get the audio message that time because we've already got
Well,
our AI assistant recording for us, but we're now making two
well,
copies. One's going up to the cloud, one's coming down to my computer.
oh, nice.
So let me do the intro. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Danny and Troy show. And I don't know, we did do one when I was in Bhutan, but I'm in a different location here now in the jungles of Bhutan, the remote areas, the um, nice mud house that I've commandeered to make my temporary office. And yeah, it's beautiful rainy atmosphere here, and yeah, we're doing it again. So Danny's got some, well, as
Thing.
yeah, creative, expressive writings and readings and videos that we are now really, developing and moving into for data logical services. Should we do a
Well,
plug right now for the up
go
and coming?
ahead. Why not? We've got the whole world watching. Go
Exactly.
ahead.
Yeah. ProMotion, our program that is intended for CEOs to help get their story out there and also utilize that in international scaling and image and identity development. We're now putting together a three-phase process of identifying your own story. And now, why we thought um, it's a good idea because we've actually been doing this for ourselves. And you can go to datalogicalservices.com and see the process in progress of what we've done with our story of how Danny and I met in Bhutan and where we see it developing and where it has actually developed. So, but then taking that the next step, which we are also working to apply to ourselves and putting it into a little video and story that, yeah, hopefully, well, I know will be as educational as it is entertaining, and doing that
Well,
for others. And Hollywood seems to, every, I don't know how often it is, but at least, every year they come out with a new Hollywood movie about somebody who has an interesting or crazy story to tell. But there are so many like these untold stories, and you don't have to look far. And we're looking to the CEOs to say, okay, let's tell your story and use that for your business development. And that's what promotion is and has become. And now, yeah, part of that is the creative expressive side of it, which is just amazing to have Danny's input and experience and guidance on how to do that and some real examples. And we've got another example right now, as I understand. Is that true to say, Danny?
okay. Yeah, about your blurb that are advertising us on
Yeah,
the Danny and Troy show.
yeah.
I like to think of us, in a very modest way, that we are king makers, right? We can take you, whoever you are, 99.9% chance, and make you a king or a queen for that matter.
Sure.
Anyway, so enough about that. It looks like you are sitting in I don't know where, I guess Bhutan, right? And you've got the wall behind you looks like it's made of cowhide, and you
Well,
look out the window there and it's so
yeah,
clear and green, and
yeah,
the cornice around the window. I mean, it just pulls me there like I want to be there.
yeah.
It's to sort of coin a phrase, it looks like it's a dream.
Right.
And I, what I'm going to read is about a dream I had this morning. I slept late for the first time, I think, in my life. And Troy says, well, you must have needed it. And I guess, yeah, my rhythms are off. So,
Hmm.
but coming from this dream, I wanted to write it down as quickly as possible because I quickly forget dreams. You know, that's it; they're gone. But this one was kind of special, and plan to post this on LinkedIn. We squeaked by the last time. Uh, I expressed something about the SE word,
Yeah.
and this time I'm going to do it again. This is about my
Yeah.
dream. I call it the watering hole. I was as thirsty as a man can be. I needed a drink, as the saying goes. I was like a horse burying his snout in a pool of sex that was there for me to drink and drink and drink until I knew satisfaction. She was a redhead of legend, and in a dream, I was a royal mounted thing in uniform. I left my cell phone there so I could retrieve it on the morrow. I didn't do it intentionally, but subconsciously. Apparently, so I could go to the house next door after seeing she was home and sitting at the kitchen table with a girlfriend, both in evening wear. When I rang at the door, I was met by an elderly matron who let me in as I was already in when she arrived and announced me. Before this, I had been to chapel, some grand cathedral where people placed their names on the pew on which they sat to have a yearly brass engraving nailed there by the divinity presently in charge. The day before, I was in her other flat in the city, and the ease with which she let me in, there was only a foretaste of delight she had allowed me in penetrating her. It wasn't a matter of treachery or betrayal, but a need to have her without conscience or its red-headed stepchild morality getting in my way. It was hunger for food for the soul that dwelled in me. I needed more now, and I went to get it. How this had come about was also a mystery, unless it was by way of skin mites and their alien blood parasites or some forced oceanic air of an electrical storm that visited me the night before I had this dream that sidestepped all reason for my ED to return me to the vigor of youth and erection full of the blood of life, my sapwood. No right or wrong entered into this picture, and it had enlisted me in the army of the living that was nowhere present in Seattle, where I had come from the day before. There was life in my boner. I would have fought to death for this pleasure. The same feeling that envelops man when he is strung in a line and marches to his death in war willingly. You may see it in a stallion near a mare in heat. I had clear visions of her apparatus, which attached to her destiny as a female, which allowed me to happily enjoy it much to her encouragement, allowance, and contribution. She allowed me to suck from her spring, all that my body could hold. I was a ship of the desert in full sail. There was no cajoling. Nor was there any plea, as water does not attempt that which is there to please, but lets itself be taken by the pleasure of its atoms, who lie in wait, who, like a chandler, sees the vessel off to its mission in full sail to satisfy its longing. That watering hole was sacred as it was bereft of morals and attachments, and was as fulfilling as sleep. It was a dream that was prescribed, the ingredients listed above, a cure-all, a boxing up of all memories that lie upon the shelves, soliciting fonder memories of reasons why they were there in the first place. I went to a site where I could likewise view the temptations of them who knowingly portray themselves as dreams, to seek a satisfaction of temptations, revealing themselves without waking to the world, wrongly fashioned by its hypnotic gaze of reality and modernization that limited me to distancing on a rail. After watching porn and realizing that no one is forcing themselves to submit, that's not the kind of porn I watch, that the success of such episodes is greatly dependent upon women and how they encourage men who are in full steam as mindless idiots seeking that lost mine full of Dutchman's gold. Some are better than others. And I find myself greatly dissatisfied with the majority that provide only an object for men to play with, as doing what they were instructed to do by the cameraman or the market. The greater portion of men on YouPorn merely seek satisfaction and some recognition of their boyhood as a license for committing sex crimes and amoral ignorance. This is for children over the age of 18. They are not learned men who, due to their age, have not come to the greater realization that intercourse with women is not the great teacher, but ruins everyone's perception of sex in their future. I focus on the woman's expression, her means of encouragement, her vocal expression, and her physical responses that undoubtedly determine the readiness of the male member. Most people, I project, will instantly, upon reading this, take offense as they are at the age of taking everything seriously and personally because it is the way of the world at present, which is to say, a purely subjective, it's all about me point of view. This is not merely not right. It is wrong. We must all remember that when we go to bed with our lover, there are 6 people there: you, she, and both of your parents. Since we are moderns, we see things in the way we are told to see things, minus the allowance of the mechanism runners who pilot the ship onto the rocks. But you know people. Increasingly, they are just articles of incorporation and have a limited range and function. They're not just chess pieces, but wooden items, like using a hammer as a screwdriver. And as for history, facts are just interpretations. In this case, the loudmouths are the media. That's all, folks, says Porky Pig, a determination of the cartoon, finally in control of a far too material world, past ready for, a change to metaphysics before we deplete the worldly resources while seeking further extraterrestrial sites to mine, refine, and formulate while hoping our minds will snap before the whole process collapses. God is dead, and the room is for rent.
Wow. Yeah.
Another mystical story
It's,
of a
yeah.
dream. A
Yeah, well,
dream.
that I love that aspect of you had a dream and you took it to the pen and paper and you wrote it down and then you took it to this media of reading
Hmm.
and then the um story itself was about you having the dream but also in the dream and there's so much like I always say I guess there's so much in that and it's very deep but the way that it's presented in the creative expression realm of whether it's autofiction or just creative writing as a whole
Hmm.
is what we're encouraging and inspiring, I see,
Hmm.
for others to stick on in their life. But in addition to that, there is such profound wisdom in it. And I can see, this journey what was coming to mind, as you were reading it, is this drive, other person, and that just happens. But then, as you get older, also you realize that that was some sort of controlling mechanism out there, and you were so kind of naive to the fact that you just needed to find these